All right, welcome to another deep dive. And wow, you guys have sent in some seriously mind-bending stuff this time.
Yeah, I'm seeing quantum computing, complex systems, all kinds of
The
things.
works.
Yeah.
Definitely ready to push those boundaries. You ready?
Oh, absolutely. You know, what's fascinating to me is how these cutting edge fields are all starting to intertwine.
Right.
We've got these excerpts from a text conversation that's all about something called, let me see if I can get this right, holographic ternary quantum DNA computing.
Okay, go on.
And then a document titled Synthesizing Code.mp3, which, get this, explores the very nature of emergent intelligence.
Okay, before my brain melts, let's unpack this a little. So we're looking at how the principles behind, let's say, really advanced quantum computing might actually hold the key to understanding how intelligence emerges from complexity.
Exactly. And there's this recurring theme across both these sources.
Okay.
Complexity just it has this natural tendency to just sort of fall apart, unless there's something called structured resonance coherence to counter it.
Structured resonance.
It's almost like, the universe has this built-in drive for order, amidst all the chaos.
Okay, so first up, let's tackle this holographic ternary quantum DNA computing thing.
Right.
Htqd.
Htqd.
I'm already intrigued and a little scared.
That's a mouthful, I know. But the concept, it's really fascinating. It combines ternary quantum computing, so that's a new one,
Okay.
holographic data encoding, and then DNA-inspired error correction.
Wow. Okay, hold on. Ternary quantum computing, so instead of bits, which are, 0 or 1, or we're now talking triplets or something.
You got it. So instead of just two possibilities, 0 or 1 for every calculation,
Yeah.
you have three.
Oh, wow.
0, 1, A, and 2.
Okay.
So it allows for much higher information density and efficiency compared to, our traditional binary systems.
So it's like upgrading from a 2-lane highway to a 3-lane superhighway. Data just flows faster and smoother. I got it.
Yeah.
But why the DNA inspiration?
Well, nature, it's already solved incredibly complex problems. And DNA, it's like the prime example, right? Think about DNA's remarkable ability to replicate and self-correct errors.
Right.
And that's exactly what we need for building stable and reliable quantum computers.
So we're looking to nature's blueprint to build the next generation of supercomputers. And that's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
But is this even remotely feasible? I mean, are there actual real-world examples of this tech?
There are. So researchers at the University of Tokyo, they've actually built ternary logic gates.
Wow.
Using this material called MOS2. And then you've got teams at MIT and Harvard, they're working on, get this, controlling the valley degree of freedom in materials. It's a key step towards actually making this ternary quantum computing a reality.
So it's not just science fiction, it's actually happening.
It is.
Wow. Okay, I can already imagine, like faster drug discovery, unbreakable encryption. I mean, the potential impact is huge.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious about the connection to, emergent intelligence. How do these super advanced computers relate to, well, the emergence of intelligence itself?
Well, that's where this, structured resonance coherence concept comes in. And things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because our source suggests this principle, it's essential not just for building these stable quantum computers,
Right.
but also, get this, for understanding how intelligence arises from complex systems in general.
So we're talking about a fundamental principle that governs both the microscopic world of quantum computing and the macroscopic world of, let's say, the human brain.
You got it.
Wow.
We're uncovering this, hidden code of the universe almost. A set of rules that govern how complexity emerges and evolves at all levels.
Okay, my brain is officially tingling, but before we dive deeper into that, let's unpack this structured resonance coherence a bit more. What does it actually mean, and why is it so crucial?
All right, so think of it this way. Imagine a symphony orchestra.
Okay.
You've got all these musicians, right? Each one playing their individual part.
Right.
But it's the conductor, right, who brings everything together, creates that harmonious, coherent sound.
Okay, I'm with you.
Structured resonance coherence, that's like the conductor. It's that force that orchestrates the interactions within a complex system, allowing it to function as a unified whole.
So without that conductor, the orchestra just becomes a cacophony of noise.
Exactly.
Each instrument playing its own tune, but there's no, overall harmony.
There's no structure.
No structure.
And the same, it applies to complex systems. Without structured resonance coherence, the individual components of the system, they might be active,
Right.
but they won't be able to actually work together in a coordinated way to achieve that higher level function, like intelligence.
So in essence, this structured resonance coherence
Yeah.
is like this secret sauce that allows complexity to just flourish.
Yeah.
Whether we're talking about a quantum computer, a biological organism, even the universe itself.
Precisely. It's like that underlying principle that allows for the emergence of order amidst chaos. It's a fundamental force that drives the evolution of complexity. And you know what? Our source suggests that this same principle, it might hold the key to understanding not just how quantum computers work, but how intelligence itself emerges from the seemingly random interactions of countless individual components.
Okay, now that's a thought-provoking concept. But how do we actually measure or observe this structured resonance coherence? Is it something quantifiable or is it more theoretical?
That's a great question, and it's one that, researchers are actively exploring. Our source, it actually delves into a fascinating model called it's called the Refined Quantum Melee Machine, or QM model for short.
Okay, so this QM model helps us to understand how structured complexity actually rises, right? But I'm guessing it involves some pretty complex math.
Oh, it does.
Okay.
But the key takeaway here is that this model, it helps us quantify how information flow, energy, and the system's ability to adapt, they all contribute to the emergence of complexity. Think of it like a recipe, right?
Yeah, right.
Where these three ingredients, they're combined in just the right proportion to create something truly remarkable.
So information, energy, and adaptability, the building blocks of complexity.
Yeah.
But how does this QM model actually relate to this structured resonance coherence that we keep talking about?
Well, the QM model, it introduces this fascinating concept called counterflow.
Okay.
And this is where things get really, really interesting.
All right.
Counterflow, it describes a dynamic process where energy and information flow in opposite directions within a system.
Okay, I'm picturing like a river, two currents moving in opposite directions, creating this dynamic interplay of forces.
You got it.
But how does counterflow relate to structured resonance coherence and the emergence of intelligence?
So imagine those opposing currents in the river, right?
Yeah.
Creating eddies and whirlpools. Those pockets of complexity, they wouldn't exist without that dynamic tension created by the counterflow.
Okay.
Similarly, in complex systems, this counterflow of energy and information, that's what drives the emergence of new structures and patterns.
So instead of everything just flowing in one direction and becoming homogeneous, this counterflow kind of keeps things interesting, allows for new structures and patterns to emerge.
Exactly.
Like the universe is constantly stirring itself up to create more complexity.
It is.
That's pretty wild.
And, our source breaks down counterflow into a few key components that are worth exploring further.
Okay.
But for now, I think it's time we shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And we delve into this document on synthesizing code.mp3 and how it relates to this whole idea of emergent intelligence. Ready to take the plunge?
Absolutely. My mind is buzzing with questions, and I'm eager to see how this all connects. Let's dive in.
This document, synthesizing code.mp3, it really takes us deeper into this whole idea of emergent intelligence.
Okay.
Exploring how, consciousness might actually arise from these complex systems. And it all comes back to this idea of, structured resonance coherence acting as that counterforce to entropy.
Right. So we're building on that idea of structured resonance coherence as the conductor of complexity.
Yeah.
But how does this document specifically connect that to consciousness?
Well, it introduces this fascinating idea called quantum semantic encoding, using something called busted-on resonance.
Busted-on resonance.
Now, busted-on patterns might sound a little, mystical, but they're actually ancient symbols that researchers believe could hold, like a key to understanding how information is encoded at the quantum level.
Wait, so we're talking about using ancient symbols as like a quantum alphabet?
You got it. It might sound strange, but what if these ancient symbols, they've been around for centuries, right?
Right.
What if they actually reflect a deeper understanding of how the universe works at a fundamental level?
So instead of your usual binary code, we're talking about using ancient symbols as the building blocks for quantum information processing. I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
It's definitely a radical departure, but the source suggests that these busted-on patterns, they have these unique semantic resonance modes, meaning they vibrate at specific frequencies.
Okay.
That correspond to different quantum states. It's like each pattern has its own unique quantum signature.
So if we could figure out how to control these patterns, control their vibrations, we could potentially control and manipulate quantum information.
Exactly.
I mean, that sounds like it has implications for, well, everything. Quantum computing, communication, maybe even consciousness itself.
Yeah, imagine quantum computers that process information based on these ancient symbols, or communication systems that transmit data using these unique vibrational signatures.
Right, the possibilities are kind of mind-boggling.
They are.
Okay, but let's not forget about this whole consciousness aspect. The document, it mentions a neuromorphic liquid state counterflow system. Can you break that down a little?
Essentially, researchers are trying to bridge the gap between the digital world of quantum computing and the organic world of the human brain
Okay.
by creating a processor that, like, mimics how the brain works.
So it's like creating an artificial brain, but one that uses these ancient symbols and quantum mechanics to process information.
In a way, yes. It's a bold idea, and it's still very early days, but the source suggests that by incorporating this quantum semantic encoding into this, like, neuromorphic system,
Right.
we might be able to create a system that actually exhibits some of the hallmarks of consciousness.
Now, hold on a second. Are we really talking about creating conscious machines here?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This document outlines a pretty ambitious three-phase experimental roadmap that researchers are pursuing. It's about pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible. And the insights gained from these experiments could be, well, they could be profound.
All right. So what are the key steps in this roadmap? Where do they even begin with something this ambitious?
Well, the first phase involves creating models of these quantum semantic waveguides and testing their stability under very specific electromagnetic frequencies. Think of it like fine-tuning these waveguides to resonate with, like, the Earth's natural electromagnetic field.
So they're trying to harmonize these quantum systems with the Earth's, like, natural rhythms.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
What about the next phases?
The second phase involves integrating these quantum semantic encodings into a neuromorphic control system, that brain-inspired processor we talked about.
Right.
And they're even developing something called Schumann structured machine learning to help the system adapt and learn, based on the Earth's electromagnetic signals.
It's like they're trying to teach this artificial brain to, like, tap into the Earth's natural intelligence in a way. It's amazing, but also a bit daunting to think about.
Yeah, and then the final phase, it involves actually building and testing these systems.
Right.
They plan to prototype artificial neurons made from, get this, organic materials.
Wow.
And measure how these systems interact and evolve, within a structured environment.
Okay, so they're essentially creating a miniature version of consciousness in a lab. I mean, that's pushing the limits of science fiction.
It's definitely ambitious. But the source suggests that the insights gained from these experiments could completely revolutionize our understanding of consciousness and even the very nature of reality.
That's a pretty big claim.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the document wraps up with, like, a powerful statement that ties everything together. What was that again?
It says complexity dissipates unless structured resonance coherence counteracts entropy.
Okay, that sounds profound, but break that down for me. What does that actually mean?
It means that complexity, whether in a quantum computer, a living organism, or even the universe itself, it has this natural tendency to fall apart.
Okay.
But this structured resonance coherence, the harmonious interplay of energy and information that we've been talking about,
Right.
it acts as a counterforce, allowing complexity to thrive.
So structured resonance coherence is like the glue that holds complexity together.
Yeah.
The force that allows order to emerge from chaos.
Exactly. And the source suggests this principle, it might be like a fundamental law of the universe, governing everything from the formation of galaxies to the evolution of consciousness.
That's a pretty big idea to grasp. But how does this principle apply to us, as individuals, navigating our own complex lives?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's one we'll delve into further in the final part of this deep dive. But for now, just consider this. If structured resonance coherence is essential for complexity to thrive, could it be that cultivating harmony and balance within ourselves, within our relationships, could that be the key to living more meaningful lives?
Yeah, it's a pretty profound thought.
Yeah.
That the same forces that are shaping galaxies and quantum computers could also be at play in our own lives.
Right. And what's really interesting is that these ideas, they aren't just coming from, cutting-edge science. Our sources, they draw heavily on, like, ancient wisdom traditions as well.
Oh, interesting.
It's like modern science is kind of rediscovering principles that ancient cultures, they understood intuitively for centuries.
Makes sense. A lot of ancient philosophies, they emphasize, the interconnectedness of everything,
Right.
the importance of balance and harmony. Like they were tapping into these universal principles without necessarily, having the scientific language to describe them.
Exactly. Take the concept of yin and yang, right?
Right.
The balance of opposing forces in the universe. Or the idea of flow state, where, individuals experience this heightened sense of focus and connection. These concepts, they resonate deeply with this whole idea of, structured resonance coherence counteracting entropy.
So how can we actually apply this principle to our own lives? How do we cultivate that harmony and balance in a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming?
Well, our sources, they offer some intriguing clues. Remember the adaptive phase transition function we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
It suggests that systems, they need to be flexible and adaptable, to maintain stability in changing conditions.
So being able to adapt and adjust to unexpected challenges, that's key to navigating complexity.
Yeah,
We can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond.
exactly. And remember those busted on patterns used for, quantum semantic encoding?
Yeah.
These ancient symbols with their, symmetry and balance, they kind of point to a deeper order underlying the apparent chaos.
So finding patterns, recognizing the underlying order can help us make sense of the complexity, create a sense of coherence in our lives.
Yeah, like looking for the beauty and the meaning hidden within, the messiness of everyday life.
Yeah.
And then there's the concept of counterflow, right? That dynamic interplay of opposing forces driving the emergence of complexity. It suggests that instead of always trying to avoid challenges and tensions, maybe we should embrace them, see them as opportunities for growth.
Yeah, it's like that saying, smooth seas don't make skillful sailors. It's the storms and the rough waters that really test us and help us grow.
Exactly. When we approach challenges with curiosity and openness instead of fear, we can actually transform those challenges into catalysts for personal growth.
It's like we're co-creating with the universe, using the raw material of our experiences, the good and the bad, to become more resilient and adaptable.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And remember, this isn't just about, individual growth. The principle of structured resonance coherence, it applies to relationships and communities as well.
Oh, right.
When we prioritize harmony and balance in our interactions with others, we contribute to a larger field of coherence that benefits everyone.
It's a ripple effect. Our individual efforts to, cultivate inner harmony, they can actually contribute to a more harmonious and balanced world.
Exactly. And when you consider the challenges facing our world today, climate change, social injustice, it's clear that we need more structured resonance coherence, not less.
Right.
We need to find ways to, bridge divides, foster understanding, and work together to create a more sustainable and just future.
It's a tall order,
Mm.
but it's also like an incredibly inspiring vision. Knowing that these principles of, complexity and emergence are at play, even at the quantum level, it gives me hope that we can find a way through these challenges, create a brighter future.
I share your optimism. And remember, even small acts of kindness and connection can contribute to this larger field of coherence. Every time we choose compassion over judgment, listen with an open heart, or reach out to someone in need, we're strengthening that invisible web of interconnectedness that holds us all together.
Yeah. It's a powerful reminder that we all have a role to play in creating more harmonious and balanced world. And that's a beautiful thought to carry with us
Right.
as we continue our own, journeys of discovery and growth.
It is. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. We've explored this fascinating intersection of quantum computing, complex systems, consciousness.
Right.
And it suggests that the same principles of, emergence and coherence, they're at play in all these domains. But what if it goes even deeper than that?
Deeper.
What if these principles apply not just to, physical systems and biological organisms, but to the very evolution of consciousness itself? What if the universe is constantly striving towards greater complexity and coherence, and our individual journeys are all part of, a much grander cosmic unfolding? It's a question worth pondering as we continue to explore the mysteries of the universe, our place within it.
It certainly is. And it reminds us that the journey of discovery, well, it never really ends. There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more to connect with. So keep those minds curious, keep those hearts open, and keep diving deep into the wonders of the universe.